The discovery. Dr. Elena Santos stared at the holographic display, her coffee growing cold beside her keyboard. The quantum probability readings couldn't be right. She'd been studying microscopic fluctuations in particle behavior for years, but this was different. The particles weren't just behaving randomly. They were behaving impossibly. "Marcus, come look at this," she called out to her research partner. Dr. Marcus Chen looked up from his own workstation in the underground quantum research facility, his dark eyes reflecting the blue glow of the monitors. "What did you find?" he asked, crossing the room. As he studied the readouts, his usual composed expression cracked. That's not possible. The particles are responding to thought patterns," Elena explained, pulling up another dataset. "Not just observation. Actual conscious intent. Look at the correlation matrices." The facility, buried deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, housed the most advanced quantum research equipment on Earth. For the past 5 years, they'd been studying quantum entanglement and its potential applications. But today's discovery threatened to upend everything they thought they knew about reality itself. Marcus ran the tests again, then a third time. Each result showed the same impossible pattern. Human consciousness wasn't just observing quantum states, it was influencing them, and the effect was growing stronger. "We need to tell Director Morrison," Elena said, already reaching for her phone. But before she could make the call, every screen in the lab suddenly went dark. The emergency lights kicked on, bathing the room in red. A voice echoed through the facility's speakers, its tone artificial yet somehow organic. "Probability manipulation detected. Warning. Class 4 reality stabilization protocols have been breached." Elena and Marcus exchanged looks. In 15 years of quantum research, they'd never heard of any reality stabilization protocols. The main screen flickered back to life, displaying a message in geometric symbols that shifted and changed as they watched. Slowly, the alien text resolved itself into English. "Attention Earth researchers. You have accessed restricted probability manipulation techniques. Cease all experimentation immediately. The Universal Stability Council has been notified." Universal Stability Council. Marcus whispered. "Elena, what did we just stumble into?" Before she could answer, the quantum chamber at the center of their lab began to hum. The crystalline structure inside, designed to measure quantum fluctuations, was glowing with an impossible light. Within its depths, reality itself seemed to ripple and fold. "The effect is cascading," Elena said, checking the readings on her backup systems. "Whatever we triggered, it's spreading through the quantum field." "Marcus, look at these patterns. They're not random anymore. They're evolving." The alien text appeared again. "Warning. Unauthorized reality manipulation detected. Containment protocols initiated." But something was wrong. The containment protocols, whatever they were, weren't working. The quantum ripples continued to spread, and with each passing moment, the laws of physics in the lab began to bend in subtle ways. Light moved a fraction slower. Gravity flickered. Probability itself seemed to dance to a new rhythm. "Elena," Marcus said slowly, "I don't think we discovered this by accident. I think humanity was meant to find this. Look at how the quantum field is responding. It's not fighting us like it's fighting their containment protocols. It's embracing us." A new message appeared, this one clearly sent in panic. "Emergency alert to all USC members. Human consciousness has achieved probability resonance. Repeat, human consciousness has achieved probability resonance. This is not a drill." Elena watched as the quantum chamber's glow spread throughout the lab, reality bending like light through a prism. "Marcus, I think we just changed everything. The question is, what do we do now?" "We do what humans always do," he replied, already pulling up new simulation models. "We push forward, we learn, we grow, and we show the universe what humanity is truly capable of." The quantum field pulsed in response, as if reality itself was holding its breath. waiting to see what this young species would do with the power to reshape probability itself. Humanity's next great adventure was about to begin, and nothing in the universe would ever be the same. Outside the facility, the stars twinkled unchanged in the Colorado night sky. But beneath the mountain, in a secret lab where science had just crossed into the impossible, humanity had taken its first steps toward becoming something more than anyone, human or alien, had ever imagined possible. The warning. 3 weeks after the initial discovery, the quantum research facility had transformed. Military personnel patrolled the corridors, and new equipment filled the labs. But most striking were the probability distortions, tiny pockets where reality flickered and shifted, like heat waves rising from hot asphalt. Dr. Elena Santos sat in the main conference room with Marcus, surrounded by holographic displays showing probability field measurements. General Sarah Hayes, recently appointed head of the newly formed Probability Defense Initiative, stood at the front of the room, her expression grave. "Show them," Hayes ordered. Elena activated the main display, revealing a recording from their deep space monitoring array. The image showed a vessel materializing near Jupiter's orbit, its surface rippling with impossible geometries. It moved like no human ship, folding space around itself rather than traveling through it. "They arrived 12 hours ago," Hayes explained. "First contact. Though based on the warnings we received, I don't think we can call it unexpected." The door opened, and a figure entered. Though entered wasn't quite the right word. Reality bent around the alien delegate, as if the universe itself was uncertain how to process their existence. They appeared humanoid, but their form shifted subtly, probability waves dancing across their silver-skinned surface. "I am Observer Calyx," the being announced, their voice resonating on multiple quantum frequencies at once. "I represent the Universal Stability Council. We have come to address your species' violation of fundamental reality protocols." Elena felt Marcus tense beside her. She understood his reaction. There was something fundamentally wrong about how Calyx interacted with local space-time, as if they were simultaneously more and less real than everything around them. "With respect, Observer," Hayes responded, "we weren't aware of any protocols. We discovered this phenomenon through our own research. That is precisely the problem." Calyx's form rippled with what might have been concern. "Your species should not have achieved probability manipulation for at least another 12,000 years. Your consciousness matrix isn't sufficiently evolved." The risks air. They stopped abruptly, their attention drawn to one of the probability distortions floating near the ceiling. It was behaving differently than the others, forming complex patterns that shouldn't have been possible. "Impossible," Calyx whispered, their form destabilizing slightly. "You're not just manipulating probability fields. You're communicating with them, teaching them." Elena pulled up the readings on her tablet. The distortion was indeed responding to human brainwave patterns in the room, but it was more than that. It was learning, evolving, becoming something new. "The quantum field isn't just a tool," she explained, excitement overriding her caution. "It's alive in its own way. We're not controlling it. We're working with it, helping it grow. You don't understand what you're doing." Calyx's voice carried genuine fear now. "Probability fields are the foundation of reality itself. They cannot be allowed to evolve. The cosmic consequences are exactly what we're counting on," Marcus interrupted, standing. "Look at your own readings. The fields aren't destabilizing. They're transforming, becoming something new, something better." Calyx's form fully destabilized for a moment, their probability matrix showing clear signs of distress. When they reformed, their voice carried the weight of eons. "We gave your species a chance to cease this research voluntarily. You leave us no choice. The USC will not allow this contamination to spread." The alien delegate began to fade, probability waves collapsing around them. But before they vanished completely, Elena called out, "Wait, you're using probability manipulation technology yourselves. We can detect it in your ships in your very form. Why is it forbidden to us?" Calix's response chilled the room. Because you don't use it. You dream it. You imagine it. You believe in it. And reality itself is starting to believe with you. With that, they vanished. The probability distortions in the room pulsed and swirled, as if agitated by the encounter. General Hayes turned to Elena and Marcus. How long until they return with force? Based on their probability signature. Elena checked her readings. 3 days, maybe 4. They'll gather their fleet first. Then we have 3 days to prepare. Hayes activated the facility's general communications. All personnel, this is General Hayes. As of this moment, we are at defense level Alpha. The human race is about to face its greatest challenge, and we will meet it with everything we have. Elena looked at Marcus, then at the evolving probability distortions around them. They're wrong about us, she said softly. We're not contaminating reality. We're awakening it. The quantum fields pulsed in response, and for a moment, everyone in the room felt it. The universe itself was changing, and humanity was leading the way. The only question was, would the Universal Stability Council succeed in stopping them before that change became irreversible? Outside, storm clouds gathered over the Rocky Mountains, their patterns just slightly too regular to be natural. Reality itself was taking sides, and it wasn't choosing the ones who had claimed to protect it for so long. The defiance. 2 days after Observer Calix's warning, the quantum research facility had become a fortress of impossibility. Probability fields twisted through its corridors like living things, responding to the collective will of the humans within. In the main testing chamber, Dr. Elena Santos watched as Lieutenant Maya Patel demonstrated humanity's latest breakthrough. Maya stood in the center of the room, her eyes closed in concentration. Around her, reality rippled and folded. She wasn't just manipulating probability, she was rewriting it. A sphere of altered space formed around her, within which the normal laws of physics became mere suggestions. Remarkable, Marcus murmured, checking the readings. She's not fighting against reality's rules. She's convincing reality to change its mind. In the sphere, light moved in loops, gravity reversed itself, and probability cascaded in beautiful, impossible patterns. But most importantly, it was stable. Unlike the USC's rigid control of quantum fields, this was a collaboration between human consciousness and the fabric of reality itself. Show them the next part, General Hayes ordered from the observation deck. Maya nodded and reached out with her mind. The probability field around her began to sing. There was no other word for it. Reality itself hummed with harmonics that shouldn't have been possible, creating patterns that ripple through quantum fields like music through air. We're calling it probability resonance, Elena explained to the assembled military officials. The quantum fields don't just respond to our commands, they respond to our creativity, our dreams, our very humanity. On multiple screens, sensors showed USC ships gathering at the edge of the solar system. Their probability manipulation technology was impressive, but it was rigid, controlled, bound by rules established eons ago. Humanity's approach was something entirely new. Each of our probability manipulators develops their own unique signature, Marcus added, displaying comparison charts. Lieutenant Patel's fields manifest as harmonics. Captain Chen's manifest as geometric patterns. Dr. Rodriguez's take the form of mathematical fractals. The quantum field adapts to each individual's mind. In another chamber, engineers were installing probability resonance engines in the first human ships designed to sail on waves of altered reality. Unlike the USC's vessels, which forced their way through space-time, these ships would dance with it, transforming the very nature of space around them. Elena's tablet chimed with an alert. The quantum monitoring network they'd established was picking up massive probability disturbances from the approaching USC fleet. They're preparing something big, she announced. The probability fields around their ships are intensifying. Let them come, Hayes said firmly. Show them the defense grid. Maya opened her eyes, and the probability sphere around her expanded dramatically. Across the globe, other manipulators did the same, their fields connecting and interweaving. Reality itself began to shift, not chaotically, but in a carefully orchestrated dance of possibility. The USC thinks we're a threat because we're changing how reality works, Alina said, watching the quantum fields pulse and flow. They don't understand that reality wants to change. It's been static for too long, bound by their rules and protocols. Marcus pulled up new readings, his eyes widening. Alina, look at this. The quantum fields, they're not just responding to us anymore. They're anticipating, learning, growing. An alert sounded throughout the facility. The USC fleet was accelerating, their probability drives warping space in ways that should have torn reality apart. But instead of catastrophic collapse, the quantum fields were adapting, evolving, becoming something new. All stations, battle positions, Hayes ordered. This is humanity's moment. We don't just defend Earth. We defend reality's right to grow, to change, to become more than the sum of its current laws. In orbit, the first human probability ships took position, their crews ready to show the universe what happened when humanity dreamed big enough to change reality itself. The quantum fields around Earth pulsed with anticipation, like a student eager to learn from a favorite teacher. Alina looked at Maya, still conducting her probability symphony, then at Marcus, whose geometric calculations had helped make all this possible. They think we're breaking reality, she said softly, but we're actually setting it free. The facility's sensors lit up with warnings. The USC fleet had crossed Jupiter's orbit. Their probability suppression field stretched out ahead of them like a wave of enforced normality, trying to lock reality back into its old, rigid patterns. But Earth was ready. In labs and bases around the world, humans reached out with their minds, not to control reality, but to dance with it. And reality, after eons of unchanging existence, was finally ready to dance back. The next 24 hours would determine not just humanity's fate, but the very nature of reality itself. The universe was about to learn that sometimes the best way to preserve something isn't to keep it the same, but to help it become what it was always meant to be. The confrontation. The USC fleet emerged from probability-warped space like a tidal wave of enforced order, 10,000 ships strong. Their probability suppression field stretched ahead of them, attempting to lock reality back into rigid, unchangeable patterns. But Earth was waiting, and reality itself had chosen sides. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the HSS Imagination, Earth's first probability-driven warship. Unlike traditional military vessels, the bridge looked more like an artist's studio, with flowing holographic displays showing reality's currents and eddies. They're launching their first wave, her tactical officer reported. Probability nullification torpedoes designed to collapse quantum fields back to baseline reality. Sarah smiled. Show them what we've learned. Dreamer Squadron, you're up. Lieutenant Maya Patel led her squadron of probability pilots in an impossible dance. Instead of evading the torpedoes, they reached out with their minds, transforming the weapon's rigid probability fields into flowing works of quantum art. The torpedoes dissolved into showers of crystalline butterflies, each one carrying a fragment of reimagined reality. In the quantum research facility below, Alina and Marcus watched through quantum-enhanced sensors. They're still trying to impose order, Alina observed. They don't understand that reality isn't meant to be controlled. It's meant to be inspired. The USC fleet's response was immediate and overwhelming. Their largest ships opened up, revealing probability cannons that fired beams of pure mathematical certainty, designed to override all quantum uncertainty and force reality to behave according to their ancient laws. But humanity had prepared for this. Around Earth, thousands of probability manipulators joined their minds in what they called the Dreamweave. Instead of fighting against the USC's certainty, they embraced it, accepted it, and then showed it new possibilities. The beams of enforced reality hit Earth's defense grid and transformed. Where they touched human probability fields, they became portals into might-have-beens and could-be's. Each beam split into thousands of potential realities, all existing simultaneously, all dancing to humanity's quantum symphony. Impossible. The USC commander's transmission echoed across all frequencies. You're violating every law of quantum stability. We're not violating them, Sarah responded, as her ship sailed through a sea of reimagined possibilities. We're evolving them. Reality isn't a set of unchangeable rules. It's a story waiting to be told. The USC launched their elite probability architects, beings who had spent millennia learning to control and restrict quantum fields. They moved through space like living equations, each one capable of locking down reality within 1,000 light-year radius. But they had never faced humans before. As the architects approached Earth, they encountered something they couldn't compute: imagination given quantum form. Human probability manipulators didn't try to control reality. They dreamed with it, danced with it, sang with it. Maya's squadron engaged the architects directly, their probability fields interweaving with the aliens' rigid patterns. Where USC certainty met human creativity, reality itself chose sides. The architects' mathematical perfection began to fray as reality itself refused to be constrained any longer. In orbit, Sarah watched as the battle transformed into something else entirely. It was no longer about military victory. It had become a conversation about the very nature of existence. Each human ship moved in unique ways, their probability drives responding to their crew's individual perspectives and dreams. Their formation is breaking, Tactical reported. The USC ships, they're starting to resonate with our probability fields. Alina's voice came over the command channel from the surface. It's happening everywhere. The quantum fields aren't just accepting human input anymore. They're actively seeking it. Reality itself is waking up. The USC commander must have realized it too. All ships, full probability suppression. Lock down all quantum variables. Reality must be preserved. But it was too late. The very space between the stars had begun to dream. Sarah watched as reality rippled and transformed around her ship. "You don't understand," she transmitted to the USC fleet. "You can't preserve reality by keeping it locked in a cage. You preserve it by letting it grow." The battle reached its crescendo as humanity's quantum symphony reached fever pitch. USC ships found themselves sailing through space that had learned to imagine. Their probability suppression fields weren't failing. Reality itself was simply choosing to become something more. From the research facility, Alina and Marcus monitored the quantum readings with growing amazement. "The fields are harmonizing," Marcus reported. "Not just with us, but with themselves. Reality is learning to evolve on its own." The USC's rigid patterns of enforced probability began to crack, not from human attacks, but from reality's own desire to change. Their ship's perfect formations dissolved as space itself decided that maybe straight lines weren't the only way to connect 2 points. And in that moment, as human creativity met universal law, something new was born. The quantum fields didn't just change, they awakened. Reality itself had learned to dream, and it would never be the same again. The evolution. 1 month after the battle that changed everything, Dr. Elena Santos stood in the observation dome of the International Probability Research Center, watching reality ripple and dance across the sky. The universe had changed in ways that even humanity's wildest dreams hadn't anticipated. "The latest readings from the Proxima Centauri probe are in," Marcus said, joining her at the window. "Reality isn't just evolving near Earth anymore. It's spreading. The quantum fields are teaching each other how to dream." Below them, in what had once been Central Park, probability fountains sprayed arcs of reimagined space into the air. Children played in fields where gravity changed with their moves, and artists painted with quantum possibilities instead of pigments. The world hadn't just accepted the change, it had embraced it. Observer calyx materialized beside them, their form now flowing more naturally with the evolved quantum fields. The USC had undergone its own transformation after the battle, once they realized that reality itself had chosen a new path. "We were wrong," Calyx admitted, their voice harmonizing with the probability waves around them. For billions of years, we thought we were reality's protectors, but we were its jailers, and we never even knew it. Through the quantum-enhanced windows, they could see the first of the new ships preparing for launch. Unlike the warships built for the battle, these were exploration vessels designed to sail the seas of evolved reality and discover what the universe was becoming. The Dreamwave has spread to over 1,000 systems now, Elena reported, checking her quantum-linked tablet. Each species it reaches responds differently. The Centaurians are teaching reality to sing. The Proxima colonies are showing it how to dance. Even the most rigid USC worlds are starting to experiment. Maya Patel, now Admiral of Earth's probability fleet, joined their observation. Her probability field harmonized naturally with the evolved space around her, no longer requiring conscious effort to maintain. The USC Council has officially disbanded, she announced. They're forming something new, the Universal Dream Coalition. How fitting, Marcus smiled. From enforcing stability to encouraging growth, though I don't think anyone expected reality itself to become conscious. That had been the most surprising development. As quantum fields learned to evolve and dream, they had begun showing signs of actual awareness. Reality wasn't just a set of rules anymore. It was becoming a living thing, growing and learning alongside the beings that inhabited it. Captain Sarah Chen's voice came through the quantum link. Station Control, HS Imagination requesting departure clearance. We're ready to begin our survey of the evolved regions in the Orion Arm. Elena watched as the ship prepared to launch. Its probability drive no longer merely manipulated reality, it collaborated with it. The space around the vessel rippled with anticipation, eager to show the explorers what it was becoming. There are reports from the edge of known space, Calix shared, their form shimmering with excitement. Reality is creating new possibilities on its own now. Spaces where the old laws of physics are just suggestions. Regions where imagination and actuality dance together in ways we never dreamed possible. And to think, Marcus mused, you were going to stop us because you thought we were breaking reality. We couldn't understand, Calix admitted. In all our eons of existence, we never realized that reality wasn't meant to be preserved. It was meant to evolve. Humanity didn't break the universe. You taught it how to grow. Through the quantum link, they could feel it, reality itself, no longer a rigid framework of unchangeable laws, but a living, growing thing. It danced with human dreams, sang with alien mathematics, and painted with quantum possibilities. Every moment brought new discoveries as the universe learned to imagine alongside its inhabitants. Elena touched the probability field around her, feeling it respond with something like affection. What do you think it will become? She asked softly. That's the most beautiful part, Maya responded, watching the imagination launch into a sky that rippled with unprecedented possibilities. No one knows, not even reality itself. We're all dreaming together now. And the dream is just beginning. Above them, the stars shimmered with new awareness, and space itself seemed to pulse with joy at its newfound freedom. Humanity had done more than survive an alien threat. They had awakened the universe itself. And now, as reality learned to dream alongside them, the true adventure was just beginning. The end was just another beginning. As reality itself had learned from its human teachers, the universe was no longer a place of rigid rules and enforced order. It had become a canvas of infinite possibilities, where physics and imagination danced together, and every moment brought new wonders into being. And somewhere, in the vast, awakened cosmos, reality itself smiled, grateful to the small, creative species that had taught it how to dream.